I went through all of Jack Smith's 137-page report on Donald Trump's actions in and around January 6th, 2021. And I've got the two sentences that you absolutely need to hear. All right, let me go through them and tell you why this is all important. All right, here are the two sentences from Jack Smith. Ready? Here we go. The department's view that the Constitution prohibits the continued indictment and prosecution of a president is categorical and does not turn on the gravity of the crimes charged, the strength of the government's proof, or the merits of the prosecution, which the office stands fully behind. Indeed, but for Mr. Trump's election and imminent return to the presidency, the office assessed that the admissible evidence was sufficient to obtain and sustain a conviction at trial. All right, well, that's a little bit in legalese there. Sorry, Jack Smith. So let's break down what it means. Number one, it means Donald Trump, because he is about to be the sitting president of the United States, can't be prosecuted. Number two, it says that if Donald Trump wasn't about to be the sitting president of the United States, he would be prosecuted and convicted, according to Smith. And number three, Smith believes the evidence is so clear that he thinks Trump would not even win on appeal of said conviction. Now, let me go through a few thoughts here. Thought one, this isn't going to change a ton of people's minds. Okay, I get that. If you went into this thinking that Donald Trump's actions around January 6th disqualified him from being president, you're not going to read this report and say, you know what, actually, he was fine on January 6th, and vice versa. If you don't think January 6th is relevant to Donald Trump's incoming presidency, you are not going to suddenly say, I can't believe I voted for Donald Trump. No, right? I get that. At the same time, I do think that it is worth at least skimming the document. And I'll put a link to the document below. I think it's worth skimming the document, not because I think you're going to learn that much new, because most of it is a rehash of what we know from media reporting around that time, around January 6th, and then what the January 6th commission, House committee wound up finding that was chaired by Benny Thompson and Liz Cheney. So, I don't think it's going to change anything, but it is worth, I think, at least skimming. Now, Donald Trump has spent a lot of time, as he did when this report came out on very early Tuesday morning, saying that Jack Smith is deranged and crazy and a partisan, right? He said, deranged Jack Smith was unable to successfully prosecute the political opponent of his boss, crooked Joe Biden, so he ends up writing another report based on information that the Unselect Committee of Political Hacks and Thugs illegally destroyed and deleted. All right. I get that that's the Trump take, but I wanted to do an intellectual exercise where I just went through what has Jack Smith done in his professional career, and does it lead us, or could it lead us plausibly to the conclusion that he is an inveterate partisan? Okay, so here's what I could find. In 1994, Smith starts his career working as the assistant district attorney with the New York County District Attorney's Office. 1999, so 5 years later, he becomes the assistant U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of New York. In 2008, he goes to the Netherlands to work for the International Criminal Court at The Hague. He comes back to the U.S. in 2010, hope you're following all this, to become the Public Integrity Section Director for the Department of Justice. Now, in that role, he leads prosecutions on lots of people, including John Edwards, former North Carolina Democratic Senator, Bob McDonnell, at the time the Virginia governor, former House Majority Leader Tom DeLay, a Republican, and New Jersey then Senator Bob Menendez, a Democrat. Okay, he leaves that job after 5 years. So in 2015, he leaves that job. He goes to Tennessee to become the assistant U.S. attorney and then the acting U.S. attorney for the Middle District of Tennessee. And then finally, in 2018, he moves back to the Netherlands to head up an investigation of war crimes in Kosovo at The Hague. In November 2022, he is appointed by Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, to this special counsel role to oversee two ongoing federal investigations, one into Donald Trump's retention of classified documents, the other into how Donald Trump acted in and around January 6, 2021. So, I struggle when I read things like this from Marjorie Taylor Greene. Jack Smith is a lousy attorney. His career is filled with mistrials, overturned cases, and judicial rebukes. He only targets Republicans because he's a weak little bee, I won't say that word, for Democrats. But that's just not true. As I said, He prosecuted John Edwards, who's a senator from North Carolina. He prosecuted Bob Menendez. It ended in a mistrial, but he still brought it to prosecution, who's a Democrat. Yes, he did prosecute Bob McDonnell, who's a Republican, and Tom DeLay, who's a Republican, but he didn't just target Democrats. And so this is what's hard. It seems to me that the he's super partisan thing is solely based on the fact that Jack Smith was appointed by Merrick Garland, and Merrick Garland was appointed Attorney General by Joe Biden, and Joe Biden is a Democrat, and therefore Jack Smith vis-a-vis is a Democrat. But does that mean every single prosecutor is appointed as a special counsel by a president, by an attorney general who is appointed by a president, is beholden to that president? I'll give you one recent example. David Weiss, appointed by Attorney General Merrick Garland in 2023 to investigate Hunter Biden. He issued a pretty scathing 280-page report on Hunter Biden. Now, it wound up not mattering because Joe Biden pardoned Hunter Biden, but David Weiss went after Joe Biden for pardoning Hunter Biden and saying that he attacked the investigation, which the president shouldn't have done. I actually agree with him there. But the point is David Weiss beholden to Joe Biden because Merrick Garland appointed him? No. And neither should we draw that same conclusion about Jack Smith. It's ridiculous. It's a double standard. So my basic view on all of this is you cannot like what Jack Smith did in the investigation. You cannot even like his conclusions. But I find it hard to believe that Jack Smith, a guy who's really never been political one way or the other in his entire life, suddenly or secretly was out to get Donald Trump, got Merrick Garland to appoint him as special counsel, and then proceeded to work a political agenda that he kept hidden from everyone for his entire public and professional life to get Donald Trump. You have to believe that if you believe Donald Trump. Or you could believe that Smith is a prosecutor who has a long resume of sort of not choosing sides, and drew the conclusions he drew about Donald Trump, which is that if Trump had not been not about to be president of the United States, he would be convicted in a trial. Now, we could debate whether he should be convicted, but that's Smith's conclusion. I think, based on what I know of Smith's record in career, that's a fair conclusion. I'm not saying Trump would be convicted, but a fair conclusion based on the facts that Smith reported out in his investigation. I do not think there is any evidence that Jack Smith is some sort of secret partisan. It's just not there. If you can tell me where it is, point me to it, but it's not there, folks. It's just not there. So again, those two sentences, they matter, I think, for the historical record, no matter what Donald Trump and his allies say about Jack Smith. All right, as always, I ask you to do 4 things in these videos. I ask you to, 1, subscribe to this channel. It's easy. Just do it. I ask you to like this video. It's easy. Just do it. I ask you to comment on this video. Do it for the algorithm. And finally, I ask you to tell, not 5, but 10 of your friends or enemies about this channel. Making videos every day, sometimes 2 a day. Often 2 a day, doing live streams, doing YouTube shorts, doing the whole 9 yards. So check it out. We're growing. I need you and your support. Take care.